I cover Native Americans, Revolutionary War history, Civil War history, and then we talk about the famous people that have been here, and also we describe architecture here in Beaufort.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Coastal with Kathryn. I'm excited for today's show because let me give you some clues to where we are. Well, we are north of Hilton Head Island and we are south of Charleston. We're in a community which is amongst the Sea Islands here in the Lowcountry. And where am I? I'm in Beaufort. The city of Beaufort is a beautiful place. It has rich culture, architecture, history, and we're going to learn a little bit more about the history of the Sea Islands here because we've been doing this as we go along. But I also want to point out in Beaufort, we have nostalgia, we have history, we have a low country vibe, and I want to visit this town. Right over there, you can see Luther's Pharmacy, and that is from 1906, so it gives you a perspective. But this town was actually thriving 500 years ago. So before we meet our guest, I'm going to stop and get my favorite treat at one of the favorite coffee shops here. So let's go down and see, and I'll tell you where I am in a minute. I love the shops here. Look at this one. They just opened up in 2021. The jerky, beef jerky. We want to wish them a lot of luck. Who doesn't love bees? How honeyful am I? And this cute little shopping neighborhood that we have, look at this, the Beaufort Candy Shop. And who doesn't love candy? And they've been here for a while as well. And look at the Savannah Bee Company. All these great little stores to visit when you come to visit Beaufort. Look at this beautiful view over the water. And everybody's out there playing this morning. And I'm at my first stop, the Common Ground. This is one of my favorite gems here in Beaufort. Come in with me. We'll find out a nice treat. Door number 2.
Hi there. Anybody get the tomato pie?
There she is. This is my
That's
guest
the hot
on the
thing
show.
to eat
This
at
is Janet.
Common
Janet
Ground.
Matlock, and she has Janet walking tours here in Beaufort, historical tours. Hello, nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
I was just having a treat waiting for you to come. Please sit down.
Wonderful.
So I can introduce you and
looks
talk
like a
bit
good
about
treat.
you. And then we're going to get up and go for a little bit of a tour. So Janet has been, how long have you been here with these tours?
I've been doing these tours for 7 years.
That's amazing. And with, the people come in small groups, which is very nice, and you do take, he combs the town, and you get to get a good sense of Beaufort's history, because there's a lot of history here.
There's a lot of history here. I mean, we can go from the Native Americans all the way through the Civil War. Let's go.
Let's go. So we're going to get up, and we're going to go by the water and see the marina, and we're going to start our walking tour now. How's that?
I would love to be with you.
I'm so delighted to have Janet with me. So right now we are starting off at the Harry Chambers Park because it's a beautiful place here in Beaufort. It become such a location for celebration.
Oh, yes.
People are enjoying it, and he was a previous mayor here, and he had a vision for this water park, correct?
He did. He was mayor for 20 years, and he said we need this park to attract tourists and to have events for the locals, the water festival, the shrimp festival, the gala.
And the water, yes, all that. So let's keep going. So let's talk about your history tour. What do you cover on your tour?
I cover Native Americans, Revolutionary War history, Civil War history, and then we talk about the famous people that have been here, and also we describe architecture here in Beaufort.
Well, that's a lot to cover. It's a 3-hour walking tour, but we're going to join you for a little while. We're going to get the short version because when you to come here and have the 3-hour tour for sure. So you brought this map, but I want to point it out because there's something you want to share with us about this.
I do. This chart is just amazing. We are the deepest Port Royal Sound. So here's our sweet Beaufort right up here. Up the Beaufort Estuary. I know it says it's a river, but it's an estuary. And 70% of sea life gets its start in an estuary. So it's very important for the environment around here. And Port Royal Sound, deepest natural sound south of Manhattan.
Really? I didn't know that.
63 feet deep.
That's why it's a port.
Yeah, there you go. This is also wonderful because it is the intercoastal waterway, and we see yachts come through. This time of year they're going towards Florida. They've had their season in Newport and Maine. Yes. And now they're heading back to the Caribbean and South Florida. So we have Beaufort River, Beaufort Estuary, and intercoastal waterway.
I just want to point out this. Look at the island. So here's Hilton Head. See how close the proximity is, but you can't get there easily. You have to go up around to get to these different places by car, unless you have a helicopter or a boat. But that is how they navigated 200 years ago. It was a boat.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit more. Where do you want to start? In Port Royal Sound? Tell us about the history there.
Port Royal Sound, deepest natural sound south of Manhattan, 63 feet deep. Believe it or not, there is a freshwater spring at 63 feet.
So that makes it useful for the estuary, for all the marine life that is there.
It is. Now it's up to 18. 18 different species of shark go up this sound to spawn. Not 18 sharks, 18 different species.
You know, and they say they come right here by the water park too, and I find that a little bit close comfort. I mean, I actually, riding my bike on the beach, I've seen a few breach, and it just reminds me there are sharks out there. But isn't that interesting? Okay. What else do we have before we keep moving?
We have, right here is Hunting Island State Park, the #2 attraction in this area. The state park has a lighthouse that was moved once already. It has big, enormous screws, and they'll move it again in the next 20 years.
I've never heard of a
erosion.
Portable.
I never have either.
Portable lighthouse, but you know, erosion is big. We live in the coastal communities and everybody's feeling it, you know. Here's what's unique right now. We're having a full moon, and also there's a storm coming up. So our tides are really high. Normally they go about 6 to 8 feet, but I think we're up to 10 to 12. If you look out over here, everything is...
Look at this, 10 to 12 feet is absolutely right now. Wow.
Normally when we look over the ledge here, it's really far down. But it's not.
It's not. Look at all the action around here.
And the boats are out.
Wow. How about that bridge right over there?
So what's special about that bridge?
It's a swing bridge. There's only 7 of them left in the Beaufort, South Carolina. There used to be 8. One took you over to Hunting Island State Park, but it's now a big high arch bridge. And traffic stops for 10 minutes. So it's fantastic. Everyone has to, you know, text a little, or me, I look for dolphins.
Yes, and we have those out here. So Beaufort is just such a unique city, but we have the culture and we have the history. So let's go meet your crew for the history. All right.
Wonderful.
And then we're walking up the sidewalk and this beautiful, look at the moss and the trees, and you just feel the history. Right here, tell me about this special wall.
Oh my gosh, this wall here is the wall that surrounds St. Helena's Anglican Church. The church is the oldest church in Beaufort. It was started in 1711. They didn't build the church, the first church, till 1724. Second church, which we'll see, 1842. But this wall is from this brick. The brick on this wall is from the ballast of ships that came over from Europe.
And look at the gate here. I love walking into gates, and you see a beautiful church. I mean, it's breathtaking.
1842 you're looking at right there, the second church that was put up there. And we're 17 feet above sea level right now. We're the highest point in Beaufort right now.
Oh, interesting. And look we have a graveyard.
Oh.
And we can see there's a lot of history from 1869 to...
I'm going to show you 1724.
1724.
The oldest grave.
Okay.
Let's stroll through.
Well, as we're strolling along, we have to stop here because there's something to be said about this, the Shepherd family. And look at this, 1899. And if you look inside, the handles, they look like dollar signs, don't they?
Mm-hmm. And guess what business they were in?
I'm guessing banking.
You got it right. You got it
and
right.
You can see 1864 and up to 1955. So this is a family.
Family.
All right, let's keep going.
Oh, Kathryn, look at this. This is the oldest grave here at St. Helena's graveyard here. It's Colonel John Barnwell. The guy's nickname, Tuscarora Jack.
And what does that mean?
That was one of the Native American tribes that got pushed away from this area. There were 11 Native American tribes in this area in the 16 and 1700s. And this guy, can you see that flag in there? It's kind of old. We need to change it out. It's the Union Jack. This guy was born in Dublin, Ireland in 1671. And guess who ruled Ireland?
I know.
There you go, the British. And he came here in 1701. He was a fighter. So there's that name, Tuscarora Jack. And the second thing he did, though, in 1717, he pushed the Yamasee, another Native American tribe, all the way to Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, my goodness. But that's a lot of history ago. Amazing.
Yeah, big history. This guy's cool. I love him.
Who's he?
This is General Richard Herron Anderson, class of West Point, 1842. 23 out of the 37 graduates that year of 1842 became generals. They fought together in the Civil War. They fought together in the Mexican War, and they fought separate in the Civil War. Against each other
in the Civil War.
Yeah.
You know, that wasn't uncommon. Classmates from West Point were fighting against each other. You know,
yeah.
But when you come here to Beaufort, be sure to stop by because, like, Janet was mentioning, there's just so much history to be told. So let's keep going.
All right, let's keep going. Let's go over to my favorite guy.
Okay. Look at the graves. You can feel the history. And look there's a Hamilton family here.
Yes, there is. This guy here, this is my favorite grave.
Okay.
This guy, Captain Paul Hamilton, right here, died.
And why is he favorite?
Because he died young.
Oh.
He died December 29th, 1862. And look at this epitaph right here. Here we go. I'll read the second half of this epitaph. He was but 20 years of age.
Oh.
Had been in over 30 battles.
Really?
He was brave to a fault, always foremost in danger in the path of duty. His gallantry was only equaled by his modesty and strict performance of every trust confided in him. That was written for him by his Brigadier General, Stephen D. Lee. Y'all, that's Robert E. Lee's nephew.
Wow.
People often ask me about the shells.
And why is that?
They're like, why are those shells there? And if you're of a Jewish faith, you put a stone on a grave, and that signifies your heart is heavy. We put shells here in Beaufort, and I've put a few myself, to say, I'm thinking about you. I remember you. I often seen 10 to 20-year-olds put shells here. I think they feel a romance, maybe, with a young soldier.
That's very endearing.
It is endearing.
It's
it
very
really
endearing. So, well, thank you for sharing this with us, Janet. Let's continue our tour because we have places to see too, but this gravesite, the cemetery is amazing. It's just so authentic, the trees. I mean, these trees can give us history lessons, I'm sure.
They certainly can.
It's Mother Nature's museum.
Mother Nature's museum. Good way to word it right here.
Well, this has been so much fun. We've been walking the neighborhoods, and we also came upon this house. This is very special. Tell me about this, Janet.
Secession House. The first ordinance of secession were spoken here.
Okay.
But let's talk about the house first, though. 1810, beautiful Greek Revival architecture here. Look at the Corinthian pillars at the top there, and the Ionic, the scroll pillars there. And then look at that lovely peachy color. I call that color the Beaufort color. You know, we have a Caribbean influence here. Alexander Hamilton. We all love Alexander. He and his half-brother were raised in the Caribbean, and Alexander Hamilton's half-brother was the warden of the church we just saw.
Oh, isn't that a small world?
Yes. So
but
that's
I also want to point out that if you look to the top on the porch, they all why do they paint their ceilings blue?
Paint blue.
And why do they do that?
They paint blue. It ain't quite green, and it ain't quite blue, how I remember it. And it was a Gullah tradition. It started out as that. The Gullahs believed that if you painted your front door, just a little bit of the front door, because pigment was expensive back then, if you painted it a shade of blue, the haints, or we would call them haunts today, couldn't cross water. So they couldn't cross into your house and haunt your house or haint your house right there.
Right. I mean,
so this is 1810 we're looking at. Pretty nice, huh?
It's beautiful. Well kept. What's this over here? There's another home.
Oh, yes. This house is the Cuthbert House right here. Guess who spent the night in this house? William Tecumseh Sherman.
Oh, really now?
Yes, he was on
General Sherman.
Yes, General Sherman. He had already done his march to the sea, Atlanta to Savannah, December of 1864. He shows up here in Beaufort, January of 1865, stays in that house with General Saxton, who's running this, we'll get to that in the tour, hospital town for Beaufort.
Let's talk about that, because one thing Beaufort did become is really a convalescent community. All the Army wounded
came here. 34 buildings, churches, private homes, offices became hospitals.
Yeah, and that's really interesting because there wasn't a lot of battle here per se.
No battle.
No battle, but they were just, it was turned into hospitals.
Right.
Let's keep going.
And here is Beaufort right up here. Here's our little Beaufort. We're on an island. The island is called Port Royal. And Port Royal Sound on November 7th, 1861. 17 Union, yes, I said Union, steam-driven, latest technology gunboats formed an oval right there at the mouth of Port Royal Sound. There used to be on Hilton Head Island, Confederate Fort Walker. There used to be right here on Bay Point Island, Confederate Fort Beauregard. These 17 Union ships formed an oval right here and pounded out these two Confederate forts in under 5 hours. What's wrong? Confederates are fantastic fighters. Well, the Union have the latest technology on these ships. They're steam-driven gunboats, ironclad, and they also have rifle cannons. Rifle cannons are smaller than our Revolutionary War cannons, and when the ball spins down the neck of that cannon, there's slats in that cannon neck, and when the ball spins down, it spins so hard enough that they have a hole in Fort Walker in under an hour. 6-foot thick tabby wall, Fort Walker, in under an hour. Confederates are fantastic fighters. They know they're not going to win this one. These forts that they aren't quite finished, and they're only half man-powered, they decide retreat. One young man who's stationed here at Fort Beauregard jumps on a boat, rides that tide up here to his hometown of Beaufort, and warns his fellow Beaufortonians, they're gone, the forts are gone, and that means the Yankees are coming. Here's what happens next. Everyone that lives in these beautiful homes that we're going to see today, the local journalist penned it at the time, the great skedaddle. They all skedaddle out of town, and 9 out of 10 of the folks that left that day never came back. Can you imagine leaving that home thinking you're going to be back in 3 weeks? I can't even imagine. And they leave their most valuable property behind. They leave their slaves behind, gullahs. Africans brought here strictly from West Africa as slaves, and they're having a great afternoon. Master left, I'm going to finish that lunch I was whipping up for everybody. Maybe I'm going to try on one of those pretty dresses. And doesn't last long, though, because Union Admiral DuPont, after he wins this battle right down here, the Battle of Port Royal, he takes 3 of his ships and they go up here, and the gullahs are greeting them. They know they're going to be freed men soon. Can't call them that yet. They go from the name slave to the name contraband. You're a piece of property for the Union, and then you'll be called freed men as of January 1st, 1863. A wonderful special thing. Right here in that village of right down here, this village of Port Royal, they spoke the first Emancipation Proclamation in the United States, and the gullahs thought you had to be present to be free. Can you imagine what that picnic was like, January 1st, 1863? Incredible.
Well, Jen, I want to thank you so much for joining me. I had such a great time being part of your tour today. We got a glimpse of it, but it's really a 2-hour tour, and I think it's a lot of fun, and it's really knowledgeable, and your enthusiasm is great. So I want to thank you, and we will see you again.
You're wonderful. I can't wait to see you again, and your enthusiasm is fantastic.
Oh, well, thank you. All right, we'll see you next time. Well, I so enjoyed our visit here to Beaufort. I mean, it's a great city, it's thriving, lots of history, and I want to thank my guest, Janet, for taking us on a quick tour on Janet's Walking Historical Tours. And I want to encourage you to also visit. I mean, right here is a wonderful marina. People have boats from the Sea Islands, dock their boats here. They get off and they have visit and enjoy a day here. I want to thank you for joining me, and I would like to ask for a favor. You know, our YouTube channel is growing. We are becoming more and more, and I want to thank you for subscribing. But for the few of you who have not subscribed yet, I'd like to ask you to subscribe. You know, like, comment, share, subscribe. That's all important as we build our community. So thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time on Coastal with Kathryn.